Hello, my name is Matthew Machowick. I go by Matt. This video is directed at That's Good Sports and Brandon Perna. He runs That's Good Sports. Basically, he talked a little about trying to help out friends that have problems with mental illness but aren't seeking treatment for it. And his view is definitely in the right place, but the methodology he suggested was way off base. And I'll give you a little background information about myself. I've been in and out of the mental health system since about the age of 4 or 5 because my parents always listened to the teacher who was playing psychiatrist. And yes, a lot of teachers get offended when I make that statement, but if you want to debate it, ask yourself this question. Did you graduate from medical school and have and are a doctor, and did you do your 3 to 5 years of psychiatric residence? If you answered no, you are unfit for psychiatric diagnosis. Okay. Now, and the other thing that's even more annoying is they're even suggesting which medications to put people on, which, again, these aren't doctors, and they're not even fit to be doctors, and they're definitely not fit to be psychiatrists. Okay? And when it got to the worst was actually when I was 15 years old. Okay, and basically what happened was I was put on a new medication, and when my dad brought it home, my mom's like, said to me, I don't have to deal with you anymore. Okay, now, and so I wasn't going to take the medication, even though it was just Ritalin, which I don't like anyways, because it makes me too hyper, which is it's like if Ritalin is more like morning coffee to you, you shouldn't be on Ritalin. Okay, end of story. But second, when you hear something like that, it really hurts. And the elephant in the room no one addressed was the fact that there were major trust issues between me and my mom, and because I was in the LD program, because I have dyslexia and dysgraphia, a lot of the teachers I had a lot of my teachers were the same throughout my life, throughout my high school, and they tried talking me into it, and what they didn't realize was at that point, it was more of an issue of me versus you through my eyes. And indirectly, when we get on someone like that, is what we're saying is, we don't want you without, we don't want you. It's not, we don't want you without your medication. It's, we don't want you. Which hurts. I mean, so that's why I, it was very hard for me to deal. It was a very painful time, and basically it ended up leaving a very bad taste in my mouth about the mental health system and the education system in general. And it took some doctors to convince me to see a therapist when I was 30, because they thought I had some mental health issues, and I did, but the thing is, the mental health issue I have, that I've had since birth, is social anxiety disorder, and that wasn't really recognized in the US until the late 1990s. And even though there's a word for it in Japanese that goes back millennia, and on top of it, it was researched. There was such it first gained traction in the psychiatric communication community about 1904. Okay, so yeah, it's a bit more real than most people think. The big problem with my mom is she has borderline personality disorder. And that's a disorder where people can't be, where everything's black and white. People get extremely angry over small things. They stay angry for prolonged periods of time. All those really stupid things. The best example most people can point out is if you watch, this is in Star Wars, the character Anakin Skywalker, before he fully becomes Darth Vader, shows 12 of the 13 possible symptoms of the disorder. Okay, but again, it's something that's generally brought on by abuse. All right. The best way to help someone get mental health treatment is, number one is basically you have to be non-combative, and probably the best way to go about things is, from time to time, everybody needs a mental health tune-up, and being around someone with mental illness can be stressful. So that would be a good excuse for you yourself to see a therapist, and then after a couple meetings yourself, try to convince the person that you need help to come along with you. Because now we're not in this apart, we're in this together. and people feel like it isn't so much about them as it is as being about you, so they don't feel picked on, because a lot of people with some disorder, some extreme mental disorders do feel picked on very easily. Well, I'd say almost every mental disorder you're going to feel picked on a lot. So it's like, so that's why I say go yourself. For extreme situations, you're best up, before anything really bad happens, find out if there's a crisis intervention team in the city or the municipality you live in, and if there's not, do what you can. I mean, make it a political issue, and on top of that, what it is it's basically part of the social working part of the police department. Only when they come to intervene, when they come to a situation, they're plain dressed, they're in an unmarked vehicle, and they come in, they're very non-combative, and they try to talk their way through the situation, and then talk you into getting treatment and letting you know you're not getting arrested and stuff like that, and all that fun stuff. And even though they're part of the police department, they're not trying to throw you in prison or anything of that nature. Okay, and another thing is, if you do have a kid that has been diagnosed with ADHD, do not make a big deal about making them taking their medication, and do not ask them if they took their medication, because in reality, what you're saying indirectly is, I don't love you. Alright, so that pretty much wraps up this video. Well, also, about a year ago, I was homeless. I took a real bad beating, with a lot of dental and sinus and injuries that, even though I'm on Medicare, I still can't get the treatment. There's treatments that they won't cover, so I do have a GoFundMe set up, even though no one's really donated to it, but I do need the money to have these procedures done because of my personal situation. So if you can give, it would be nice, but I can't really tell you to give me, but I know some of you think I'm just running a scam, but I'm not. Otherwise, thank you for listening to me, and goodbye, and I'm including my GoFundMe link at the bottom of this page.